All right, in this morning's PIX Parenting Plus, easing the anxiety of sending kids to summer camp, especially after what Craig was just reporting on, right? Those devastating floods in Texas claiming the lives of 27 campers and counselors.
And many parents across our area just dropped off their children at camp this past weekend. So this morning we're joined by pediatric psychiatrist Dr. Jody Gold with guidance on how to ease anxiety for parents and children. So good morning, Dr. Gold. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, a lot of parents who have kids, either like we said, dropped their kids off this weekend or have had their kids there for a few weeks already, are probably super nervous about this, having all these thoughts of what could happen to my kid.
Yeah.
How do we ease that anxiety if you're one of those parents right now?
Well, first of all, obviously it's a complete tragedy and we all understand that, but there's two parts to thinking about how to help the anxiety here. One part is thinking about your own anxiety as a parent, and the second piece is thinking about your kid's anxiety. So the first thing you need to do is check yourself. You can be angry or sad or feel tragic, but that doesn't mean that your kids are feeling that way, right? So the first thing you need to do is process that yourself, because really as parents, you're the one who's going to sort of have control over sort of how your kids react to it. So the first piece is manage your own anxiety.
Okay.
And the second piece is to figure out where your kids really are. So for instance, if they're at summer camp, one of the great things about summer camp is that there are not a lot of devices.
So they probably don't know.
Yeah, they probably don't have a lot of details. So the last thing you want to do is send them a letter or call them and give them all this information. Actually, what you want to do is kind of see where they are. If they don't know about it, great. If they know a little bit about it, kind of find out what they know about and whatever, and then go from there, right? So then the next piece would be sort of validating their fears or anxieties if they have them, and then reassuring them that they're safe. So whatever their feelings are, you're going to validate them wherever they are, but don't get your stuff in there, and make sure that they, you're not giving them information. And then the second piece is to help them feel safe.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed with my own child that they pick up on what your emotions are and what you're reacting to. I'm sure you know this very well, right? Like, and even if they just simply fall down and you react to it in a different way, they react differently if you don't react. The question is for yourself, right? To ease you send your kid to camp. What can you do to reduce the anxiety? Are you calling the camp up saying, well, what are your emergency protocols?
Well, you could do that if you need to. I mean, the first thing is it's a natural disaster. Natural disasters are always tragic. This one is particularly tragic, but you can't walk around worrying that that's going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the first piece that we all sort of live with. The second piece is absolutely you can call the camp directors. I feel certain that the camp directors in this area have solid emergency plans, but if you're concerned about it, don't call your kids. Call the camp director. Find out what kind of emergency plans they have. I think that can help a lot. And the truth is there's a lot of anxiety with sending your kids off to camp.
Yeah.
It's a great break for parents and kids, but also there's a mix of anxiety. You don't have as much control. You may have your own separation anxiety. So taking care of yourself and recognizing that your kids are safe.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned most of the kids probably don't even know that this happened, kids that are at camp. But what if your kid is about to go to camp?
Yes.
And like you said, they can't escape social media and what they see on television. So how do you talk to those kids that are about to go to camp? Maybe it's even by a body of water, and we've been having so much rain, that they're, panicking, possibly.
So once again, I do think that parents are panicking more than the kids are. But if your kid happens to be panicking, that would be a time to sit down with them, explain, say that we have an emergency plan. That would be an appropriate time to talk to them about the camp's plan, that the camp's managing, they're following the weather service, they have a plan, that the kids are going to be safe. And also talk to them about their anxieties about leaving home. Because my guess is that some of it may be fears about flooding and all of that, but some of it might just be the normal fears of going away, maybe for the first time, being without your devices, having separation anxiety. So be mindful about what your kids are actually anxious about.
With this horrible tragedy aside, just sending your kid to camp, let alone, is nerve-wracking. So for a first-timer, right, for both, for the children and the adults, how do you kind of go through that process?
Well, the goal is to lean into the fact that this is supposed to be fun, that this is an opportunity for you to have a break, that we're cultivating our kids' independence.
She's talking about our break.
Right.
Both of them need a break, right? And it's true, we did.
Yeah.
But we're also, the goal is you're cultivating your kids' sense of agency and independence. You're believing in them. The more anxious you are, the more they get the message that you don't believe they can handle it. So you want to be super positive and reassuring, and if they're worried about safety, reassure them about that piece, but also remind them that they can do it. That it's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to lean into it. They will be writing letters. They will be able to check in with you. But the truth is that they've got this.
Can I ask you though, if your kid knows, like, oh, I'm super nervous, is there an exercise that they can do when they're there, when they're away from mom and dad, that they can kind of calm themselves down?
Well, so what I have found at camp is that most kids have the most amount of separation anxiety at night. So usually the exercises that I'm going over with them have to do at night. During the day, they're pretty busy and very scheduled, and then it's at night that you start to miss home. So I think what you want to do is talk to your kids about their nighttime routine. I personally think that reading, I know this is crazy and old school, but you don't have your devices, you're not watching TikTok. Reading is actually a great way to get your mind off of missing your parents.
Yeah.
So I really encourage reading. I encourage journaling if that's a good thing for you. That's a plus or minus. I encourage listening to music. I encourage leaning on your counselors and the campers. And really taking care of yourself in the evening.
Isn't that cute? They might miss you.
Yeah, they might miss you. Exactly. They probably do.
Dr. Gold, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Good stuff.